Hey everybody, welcome to That's Good Broncos immediate post-game reaction. Boy, did I pick a stupid fucking week to start doing this. The St. Louis Rams kicked the Denver Broncos' butts today. And I'm here to say right now that I underestimated St. Louis. Their defense is young, but they are very tough. They play very physical football. They got consistent pressure on Peyton Manning, and I think they just outperformed the Denver offense. Injuries hurt the Broncos today, especially on offense. Julius Thomas went down early with an ankle injury. Emmanuel Sanders, who was playing great, had to leave the game with a concussion, and Monty Ball reactivated his groin injury. Now, I think we can play without Monty Ball because we had done so for the previous 3 or 4 weeks. I believe CJ Anderson was completely underutilized today. The Broncos abandoned the running game before they even entered St. Louis. They ran the ball 0 times on their first drive and they finished the game with only 9 rushing attempts by Anderson. I believe he had 9 attempts for 29 yards. Now, I don't know if the Broncos had any more rushing attempts than that. Maybe one accidentally by Peyton Manning, or one by Ball that I can't remember. But if you rush the ball 9 times on the game, you're probably not going to win. And I think there was opportunities there for CJ Anderson to run the ball. It was just a bad move, in my opinion, to not have him be a bigger part of the game plan. They got a few passes to him, which he converted a few first downs on those passes, but other than that, if you don't have a run game, you're not fooling the defense at all. And I believe that's a big reason why they're able to get consistent pressure on Manning, because they never once had to worry about the Broncos really running it on them. I think some of the coaching calls during the game were questionable as well. First, the Denver Broncos looked unprepared coming into this game. They just didn't look like they were ready to play. But towards the end of the first half, St. Louis had the ball with 2 minutes left in the game. Broncos had all 3 of their timeouts, and John Fox elected to not use any of those timeouts when St. Louis had the ball. This made me furious. I feel like all other coaches in the league would have taken the time to call those timeouts, to give their team, to give their offense a chance to at least score a field goal before the half. I typically don't like to criticize the coaches because I'm just some average asshole who does not know nearly as much about football or managing a game as they do. But I have watched enough to know if you have 3 timeouts, use them when the other team is trying to run out the clock before halftime ends. Especially with Peyton Manning, who can utilize 1 minute better than maybe any other quarterback in the league. The Broncos could have easily driven down the field with 1 minute left in the half, but they chose not to use any of their timeouts when St. Louis had the ball. So by the time St. Louis punted, the Broncos had 16 seconds left and 80 yards to drive down the field, so there was no point in them even trying to finish that half by scoring points. I think this goes back to the idea that earlier in the year, Vic Lombardi and Brandon Stokely talked about the Broncos not having that killer instinct. And to me, that was evident today. As a coaching staff, you have to give your team every chance to win possible. And the Broncos coaching staff did not do that. My nemesis and ongoing battle against evil, the New England Patriots, do the exact opposite of that. Bill Belichick gives his team every chance to win a game. I hate them for it, but I respect it. You have to figure out how to utilize those extra opportunities during a game. Now, last week against the Oakland Raiders, the Broncos scored 2 touchdowns right before halftime, and that really sparked their rout on the Raiders, because up to that point, the Broncos were playing pretty bad football again, and I feel like they would have had more momentum going into half had they managed those last 2 minutes better. Now, that didn't win or lose the game for them alone, obviously. The special teams is still playing awful. Andre Caldwell is not a good kick return specialist. We need to figure out something different there. Our kick return blocking isn't great either. So it's not all on him, but week in and week out, he fails to return the ball past the 20-yard line. So our starting field position is never great on kickoffs. Also, Brandon McManus does not seem to have the faith of the coaching staff. The Broncos went for 4th down 3 times on Sunday and converted it 0 times. Now, one of those 4th downs they went for was late in the game, and they would have had to go for that no matter what. But 2 of them came earlier in the game when I think McManus would have had 50-plus yard attempts. Now, those are not easy field goals by any means, but St. Louis kicked 2 field goals for over 50 yards, and they won the game. The Broncos are missing having Matt Prater, who is one of the best kickers in the league, over 50 yards. That decision to let him go bit us in the butt today. I really, really wish we had a better field goal kicker, or I wish McManus was given the opportunity to find his momentum, his stride. If you don't even give him a chance to make those, to attempt those kicks, he's never going to get better. Now, he's already missed some clutch kicks this year. I understand that. But today is a day where we needed him to be able to make those kicks. And it's not just about scoring those 3 points. It's about creating opportunities for your team. Kicking the 3 points, let's say he makes 2 of those field goals over 50 yards, and the Broncos, that would give the Broncos 6 more points, finish with 13 on the day, they still would have lost, theoretically. But by kicking those field goals, first, you don't give St. Louis good field position. You kick off. That already changes the entire outcome of the game from that point. This is really like sort of hindsight sort of talk, right? And conjecture. By not being able to kick field goals in those situations, you change the dynamic of the entire game. You kill the momentum of your offense when they can't convert 4th downs. You give momentum to the opposing defense, and you give the opposing defense good starting field position. You lose points, and you don't get to kick off to them. So it's not just the points that the Broncos are missing by not being able to kick field goals. It's hurting them, I think, in a much bigger way than maybe most people realize. So we've had injuries hurt us today. The offense played bad. Peyton Manning was off. He threw 2 interceptions. This is his 3rd game in a row with 2 interceptions. He missed some throws, one to Monty Ball early and another to Demaryius Thomas. I think both of those plays were in the red zones and would have converted 3rd downs. Maybe not the one to Thomas. I can't be sure on that. Our defense didn't play as bad as the 22 points may suggest. If you consider the fact that Denver forced St. Louis to kick 5 field goals, then you could say our defense did an all right job, because I think a team with a better offense would have scored touchdowns on a few of those drives, and the game would have been a lot worse. I don't think St. Louis has a very good offense, and the Broncos supposedly like top 5 defense should have forced more turnovers, should have got more pressure on Sean Hill. Those things hurt us, but overall I can't blame the loss on the defense. It solely rests in the hands of the offense, the coaching staff, and special teams, which is 3 out of 4 areas the Broncos just got completely outplayed. And if you compared what the Broncos defense did to what St. Louis's defense did, then you can say we got beat in every aspect of the game. I believe that's it. Those are my post-game rants and thoughts. Make sure to subscribe to my channel, That's Good Broncos. I will be back Tuesday with a regular episode of That's Good Broncos and a Big Dick Player episode. If I was out there playing for the Broncos, we probably would have lost by more today, so be very happy that I didn't make it to the NFL.